Make sure you have your systems and system models note sheet ready so you can fill it in as we go. So why do we need to talk about systems? So science is a study that tries to make sense of the entire universe. This is an enormous task because the universe is huge. So scientists divide the world into systems so they can study small pieces of the universe at a time. By circling off an area of the universe and saying, I'm just going to look at this piece, this system, it makes it a lot more manageable. So, system models. Modeling is a practice used by scientists to help them first understand how a system works. So, we use modeling thinking about an explanation of how a system works. We can then share and compare our understanding of how a system works. By using a defined model of a system, we can then share that model with other scientists and compare our thinking on how that model works. We can also learn how different systems interact with each other. So remember, interaction is two things affecting each other. So by using a model, we can make predictions and come up with explanations on how two different systems might interact with each other. Think the muscular system and the skeletal system work together to let our bodies move. So, what qualifies as a model? A model can be a simple sketch or a drawing. That's the type of modeling we've done in class. It could be a three-dimensional replica. So you could build a model of a cell out of Legos. That would be a model. You could use computer simulations. So we've done a little bit that of class. And you also could think about Minecraft. You could build a system in Minecraft and look at how it functions. We're going to look at systems and the different parts or components that make them up. So make sure you got some color handy. We're going to start with the system itself. So around every system, we have what's called the system boundary. So the system boundary is the area we're defining as the system. All right. This is what's inside that boundary is the only part that we're considering. All right. Outside of that boundary are the surroundings. So that's everything outside of my system, right? Those are the boundaries or the surroundings. Surroundings, everything outside of my system boundary. All right. Next up, we have our inputs. Inputs are what are going into the system from the surroundings. And then we have our outputs. That's anything coming out of our system. So boundary is what goes around the outside of my system. Surroundings are the parts around the outside of that boundary. Inputs are things going into my system. Outputs are things coming out of my system. And one system can interact, means have an effect on other systems. All right, let's go through some important terms that we need to understand as part of this system. All right, it's mostly a review of what we have on our diagram. To start, interact. So interact is the way that systems may have an effect on each other. So interact the way that systems may have an effect on each other. Next, input. So remember, input is what goes into the system. Input, what goes in to the system. Output. Output is what comes out of the system. It's nice when the words make sense, right? So input, what I put into the system. Output, what comes out of the system. Flow. So flow is to go from one place to another. Flow, to go from one place to another. So that might be from the surroundings into the system. It might be from the system into the surroundings. It could be within the system. So flow, in this case, just means to go from one place to another. And then subsystem. So subsystems are small systems within a larger system. So a way to think about this might be your whole body is a system. Within our bodies, we have subsystems like our nervous system, our muscular system, our skeletal system. So they're the parts that make up a bigger part.